Welcome back to the Lux Bride. Today we're going to be talking about some basics on how to book your vendors. And it's just looking at it as a whole spectrum of how to go throughout this process.
Number one is going to seem like the most obvious thing ever. Research them. This is where you do some gentle stalking, but you make sure like they are the type of person that you want to work with, that you like what you're seeing. It's really easy for like people like a florist or a photographer or videographer, because visually you need to like what you see there. You need to ideally have like a price point, but you need to do your own research and find somebody that you like to at least talk to begin with. That's step number one.
Number two is going to be reaching out to them through their website or a phone call. A lot of vendors will have on their website how they prefer for you to reach out to them. It'll say, schedule an appointment now, or please send your inquiry here. And don't be I'm jumping ahead. I am sorry. Don't be surprised if there's another hoop to jump through. And that's going to be moving on to step 3 for Stephanie. Did I redo that? Was that okay?
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
I'm going to keep this in the recording too, because this is real life. But number 3 is you're figuring out like their pricing, but also for a lot of vendors, you're going to have a questionnaire that you need to fill out. Sometimes that questionnaire is within their inquiry forms, like the form that you fill out to even contact them. They'll have different questions. Other times they'll send you a questionnaire once you reach out to them, so that way they're not being too intrusive. But that will give you once they get that questionnaire filled out, they can give you a much better idea about overall pricing. That's kind of the big reason why they're asking those questions. So keep that in mind. That's number 3.
I'm going to add to that, if that's okay.
Ew.
The biggest thing is don't be afraid of the questionnaire form. Your vendors that want to know more information, they really truly want you to have the best overall experience, and they want to know the most about your day because they're approaching it very practically. So if you're like, oh, they're asking me too many questions, that's not worth my time, next, don't, because you will be very happy the fact that we care that much to know all the details.
Yes.
Okay, so after jumping on Stephanie's bandwagon, the next thing is to schedule a consultation with them. This is the steps. I know that people want instant contact right now, but know that they're servicing other couples or they have other client meetings, and so everybody has to wait for their time. But if you schedule a consultation, this will get you on the calendar. They know that they're going to talk to you. They're going to be prepared for you because you just filled that questionnaire out for them. And so they're going to be mentally prepared to jump right in. And so you can skip and get to the really good stuff, as opposed to like, what's your wedding day? Where are you getting married? All those basics. Like, you're going to already have been in there, so they're going to be in the proper mind frame for your consultation.
And actually, I'm going to hop on that one too, because I think a really great insight into how the process is working with your vendor is how easy is it to schedule a consultation. So like, I know for you and I, Lisa, for each of our businesses, we have a link. You can go through that link. You can find a time that works for you. And it's not back and forth via email 5 or 6 times. If you think about it, a simple task like scheduling something, if you have to go back and forth 5 or 6 times, well, how's that going to be in the middle of things if like it's a cake and you're thinking you want an off-white instead of a pure white frosting? We could be going back and forth for a while. I'm just saying, think about it. It's a very good insight into exactly what you're getting right out front.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. The next part though is the questions that you're going to ask during the consultation. So they've already asked questions of you. They will probably continue asking questions of you during the consultation, but now it's what questions should you be asking them? Because it's not just about necessarily just the pricing, right? It's getting to know a little bit more about them. There's other questions that you should really, really, really pay attention to. And it's, unfortunately, we can't tell you all of them because it's different per vendor. Yeah, doesn't that suck? It's different per vendor. However, luckily, we have guides available. So if you go into our online shop on the Lux Bride, you will see that there are guides available, quick, easy purchase that you can download. We do have lines there available if you want to if you like to print it out and write it down. If you just want to have it on your phone, so that way you can scroll through and make sure that you're asking all the questions. Those are all available for you.
Yeah, it has one side where it's all questions and the other side where you can take notes and compare vendors on that that guide sheet. So it's really important because, like she said, every single vendor has a different process. Just like me as a florist or planner and Stephanie as a photographer, we have some similarities, but like I don't know anything about her tech or gear. And we're gonna have different processes. And so that's really important, is to understand like how well you're being taken care of and like what you can literally expect from each vendor on the wedding day. And if you don't ask the right questions, you won't really know. So this is really important to spend time on it and not just like jump in and wing it. Even if some people are like, well, I don't know anything about weddings, you can still do some research, or we have the guide sheet for not very much that you can use to apply for all of your client meetings. All of your vendor meetings. Clients for us, vendors for you. So after you've done that consultation and you've asked all those questions and you bought our guide sheet, the last thing is to make sure you follow up. Your vendors are going to be hopefully following up with you, and you need to follow back up with them. Even if you're thinking about it, and if you really know you want to book with them, you need to make sure you know how to book it. Usually it's signing a contract and then making a deposit that applies towards your balance. I wouldn't be surprised if they're all not a refundable deposit. I think this is really important because if you just ghost them, A, they're going to be a little saddened, and B, if you come back later and you try to book with them, they're going to be like, sorry, we never heard back from you. If you wait a week, that's one thing, but if you wait like a month or 2 months, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not booked when you go back, and then you're going to be like, shoot, I really liked them. So make sure you make your decisions. Take time to make that decision, but don't take too long of a time to make that decision and book them.
And the other thing too is, just to hop onto that, we as vendors, yes, we do reach out, but if we reach out, 3 or 4 times, we are going to think that you're no longer interested in booking. And it has happened a couple of times, I think, to both of us, that we've reached out a couple of times, haven't heard anything, and we get it.
A lot.
Things happen, right? And then we don't hear from you for a month, and then we book the date. And it's unfortunate, but it is also a first come, first serve service that we provide. It's whoever books the date gets the date.
I also think part of the ghosting is because you're reaching out to like 10 or 20 florists and 10 or 20 photographers. I don't know if you should be reaching out to that many. I think you can research that many and then look at the ones that you really think you might want to work with and meet with like 2 or 3 of them. Don't book 10 to 20 consultations per vendor. I'm sorry, but that's a little cray-cray. Like, that's a little bit much. I don't think that would be realistic to expect to try to do 10 meetings per like category. I can't imagine doing that and doing wedding planning and coordination. That sounds like insanity. Mm-hmm. So do your research ahead of time. See if you like what they're doing. See if you like what they're like, how their work is, how they kind of seem to handle themselves on their social media and their website. Obviously, that's not everything. So you also need to meet them in person or virtually or over the phone and make sure you ask those questions and see how you feel about them, both as a vendor and as a person. Because if you like them in both aspects, then you're golden. So sorry, I went a little tangent on that, but
no, I think it's very important for people to know. But I think it also I think a good way to conclude that is the free guide that we do also have. It's as a pop-up right now on our website. If you have an issue trying to figure out which vendors are most important to you, because that can sometimes determine a lot as far as budget, as far as like who you're talking to in general. And then on top of that, your partner probably has maybe different expectations about who's most important to them. And who's most important to you. So we actually created a guide that is about you two taking the time apart to figure out which area of your wedding you want to focus on, because that's going to determine what vendors you have, and then you get to come together to figure that out. It's all a free guide. Literally, it's a pop-up on our website. You just type in your email and we'll email it to you, give you that little guide. And it truthfully, I've had a couple of couples use it and they've said it's been very, very helpful just to know where their partner is even coming from. So when they're planning, as they continue going on, they can keep in mind, food is most important for them, or dessert, or the dress. So I know where we're going to be spending most money or where we really want to focus the day on. So just keep that in mind.
Sometimes what's nice with that guide too is that if there's some wedding planning things that you're just overloaded on and you want your partner to help you with, this would be a fantastic way to know that that's important to them. Maybe it's food, maybe it's booze, maybe it's music. Those are usually the guys' top 3 besides marrying you. I guess some girls, it's their top 2. It just depends on, again, what your priority is. But if you know that's something that you can hand off to your partner because they really are concerned about that, maybe just send them some notes of like, this is what I really want. Maybe it's a favorite drink or something like that, and just have fun. Let's like go ahead and do your research, pick the top 2 and let's go talk to them kind of thing. This is a great way to delegate, and like that's something they really care about. So you should maybe have them take on some tasks so you're not taking on everything too. So it's a fun guide. So go sign up for it.
Awesome point. Thank you so much. Okay. So we're going to conclude there for the day. We're trying to make it nice, simple, and sweet. Next week, we're talking all about responsibilities and how you should be delegating responsibilities and which responsibilities you can or should maybe delegate and who can help you with that. So that's what we're talking about next week. Again, as always, we hope that you have a wonderful time planning. And if you have any questions, just let us know. We're happy to help.
Thank you for listening to Lux Bride, and see you guys later.
Bye.